What is up, guys, and welcome back to a brand new video. Once again, we are back with career mode, this time for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Not looking forward to this one, I'm not gonna lie. Last season, if you didn't see it, this race was a complete write-off for us today, so I'm going into this one with an open mind. We might well write off this Grand Prix itself as well, but seeing as this is going to be a bit of a trial weekend, I thought I'd do something a little bit weird. I thought I'd chuck in the very first power unit that we started the season off, and it just so happens to be at like 95 odd %, and I just thought I'd run it through the entire practice session and just see if I could push the limits of the power unit and just see how far it would go before it would actually blow up. So we've got to the point now where we've run through all our practice programs, and there's only an expected life of 2 laps left in this power unit. So if you count the out lap and now this flying lap here, it should blow up on this lap apparently. So we'll see what the life expectancy of this McLaren Honda power unit was, but I gotta say, like, the car was absolutely dreadful. It was like 5 seconds slower than a regular power unit. But as you can see here, going through the middle sector, I was looking at some replays, and then as soon as I jumped out of the replay cameras, bang, the engine goes, and it threw us straight into the barriers. So yeah, just pretty shocked in a way that the car would just throw us straight into the wall after blowing the engine. Maybe some oil got under the tires, and kabang.
Embarrassing. Really embarrassing.
And as you can hear there from Fernando, he's clearly not happy with proceedings, even though we did intentionally blow up the power unit. But yeah, I just thought I'd test it just to see how far it would go, and if like the damage, or I don't know, the whole mechanic of blowing an engine has changed over the years. Not really. It's still pretty much the same. So 100% use, we cannot put that internal combustion engine back on the car. So yeah, it's completely gone, and pretty much all the other components for the first, power unit are gone as well. Pretty much, they're all at 80%. They're not really worthwhile using, even in practice anymore. But that's the end of practice. We did a upgrade for the department efficiency for the downforce, so I think that'll be the last one I do. I don't think it's worthwhile doing any more upgrades than the first 2. So we'll see how that goes. We've put on a fresh power unit as well. Well, I say fresh power unit, it's just fresher than the one that we had before. I think it's sitting at around 20 odd %. I believe the ICE though is completely brand new for this session. So hopefully they can bring us in the game and make us much more competitive this racetrack this season versus last season. Effectively, when we came here last season, we didn't have any engine upgrades applied to the car. So that made a massive difference, and hopefully, yeah, when we put in some proper laps, we can be near enough towards the pace where we need to be. But coming to the end of our first lap here, you can see not that great. 1 minute 44.1, 4 seconds away from Sebastian Vettel's provisional pole time. At the moment, we're still a long way away from Fernando Alonso's time as well. So I know there's more time in myself to find, 1 second at least. So we'll see what we can do on this second lap. The first lap that I did was not that great either. But yeah, no, it's just a case of nailing the middle sector. Like, in order to be competitive around here, you got to run like really low front wings and rear wings, like 3 or 4, and it makes the corners, especially the medium speed corners, pretty tricky. But yeah, it's just what you got to live with around this circuit. But so far, second lap, we're getting overtaken by Hamilton in a straight line. I was, just pushing on this lap to see if I could get another lap out of this one, and we're currently down at the moment through the middle sector. But as we go through the third, we picked up the slipstream of Hamilton. We were just able to stay with him, but it didn't give us enough of a benefit there. Only a 1/10.5 we were going to improve by, and that, to be honest, wasn't enough to get ourselves out of Q1. So I thought I'd box then, get on a new set of tyres, and see if we could salvage a lap right at the end of the session. So at this stage, I was actually really rushed to get back out there. There was like 3 minutes to go at the time that I went into the pits, and as we check the radar now, 2 minutes 20. So we got to change tyres. I thought about changing the fuel load. I was running at like 7 kilos, had to get it down to 5, but honestly there wasn't enough time to do that. So I just got out there as quickly as I could to the fast lap, and it wasn't enough. We got out there to start our lap with about 6 seconds to go, and we weren't able to start our final run. So it's 19th place for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, 3.1 seconds away from pole. Not too far away from Alonso, 3/10. Considering the AI are very strong around here, I mean, I'll take it. We're definitely going to be stronger in the race. which I believe we will do. I feel like there is something there to be gained out of this Grand Prix, especially if there's crashes or anything like that. So hopefully we can make the most of that. We are running lower downforce than the AI, so overtaking should be possible, depending on you know, fuel mixtures and all that kind of thing. But yeah, in terms of the power unit, we're going to leave that the same to give ourselves the best chance of getting some points today. Last season, I just didn't give myself that chance by running like the most worn power unit. But unfortunately, at the time of recording this, I missed the trick here. I didn't take the 6 power unit. It just never crossed my mind. So unfortunately, yeah, we're going to be running with one less power unit over the course of the season. I probably could have got away with it there, just taking a 1-place grid penalty, but yeah, to be honest, never even crossed my mind, so apologies about that. It's time for the race now, the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. To be honest, if we get points, that's a miracle.
Now it's almost time to lights out, so let's go down to the track.
Keep your eyes open on the run to turn 1 and keep it clean. We want to come out in one piece. Good luck.
Thank you very much, Jeff. Welcome, guys, to the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. We're on the grid for the race now. Interesting one ahead of us, starting from 19th place. Looks like we're doing the one stop as well. Not entirely sure though on you know, the case of the rest of the AI, whether they're having to do 2 stops. I'm hoping that they have to, and that could open up some you know, opportunities for us later on in the Grand Prix. In terms of our setup, you know, I feel fairly confident in this race. You know, we're running fairly low wings, 4.4. We're doing everything we can to maximize that top end speed. Yes, we're not going to be as quick as the Mercedes powered cars, but I feel like if we have track position, we should be able to hold our own. So that's what I'm counting on in this Grand Prix. But here we go. Ready for the start of this race. We're going to take it fairly cautiously off the start here, since we are starting from the back. There is you know, a lot to be gained for us. So, you know, we can do anything we want. It doesn't matter if we lose, well, we don't want to lose a front wing off the start, but we'd prefer not to as we go through turn 1. A bit of a shaky start there. Getting caught up behind Veerline, but look at all the cars going slowly on the run into turn 2. 5 spots. As easy as that, 5 spots. Thank you very much, AI, for driving incredibly slowly. We've now got Lance Stroll sliding up our inside as we head into turn 3 now, and he just completely lunges myself, Toro Rosso and Magnussen as well. Yeah, great job from Stroll there. I was not that daring under brakes. Possibly I should have taken a leaf out of his book. But either way, we go side by side with Carlos Sainz here through the middle sector. If we can hold it here, we have the inside for the next right-hander. But he's still hanging it in there with nice traction there. He might still potentially challenge us as we head into the dreaded castle section. I've seen many crashes on F1 2017 so far, and other people's career modes and just races in general. But so far, we've all survived. Thank goodness for that. I do not... Well, in a way, I'm secretly hoping for a massive crash there, but hopefully we can all keep it clean today and we can have a nice and easy race for us all. Lap 2 now. We actually didn't get challenged on the massive straight there. I think that's one of the Toro Rossos in Kvyat, who was just completely gone off there at turn 2. Yeah, I was really surprised that I was pretty much unchallenged from the guys behind on that massive straight. This is Kvyat. I don't know. I don't know what has happened here. He's locked his outside front tyre, and he thought he could make the corner, carried too much speed, and ended up in the barriers. Yeah, I mean, Kvyat in real life and Kvyat in the game, they're having some real issues at this stage. But lap 3, we're holding on to P14 now, as it was. Kvyat bowing out of the running. We now have his teammate Sainz going up our inside into the left-hander. Nice side-by-side action so far in this Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Managed to fend off Sainz there, which is good to see. Yellow flags through the castle section. This can only mean one thing: a massive pile-up at one of the tightest corners in Formula 1. We have a massive, absolutely huge pile-up. 10 cars, I'd say. Absolutely caught there in the castle section. Safety car has been deployed. I do not know what happened there. I think probably someone going side by side, and that has resulted in a massive, massive crash. And, well, if red flags were a thing in F1 2017, then I definitely think one should have been deployed there.
We're doing one more stop today. One stop left in our strategy. Your pit window opens in 8 laps time.
But, getting back on with the action now, we have to think of our strategy now because the safety car is out. I thought the, opportunity to take a pit stop very early on in this race was too hard not to ignore, and so we're going to dive into the pits, go into the soft compound tyres, and run possibly to the end of the race. I know the tyres are a little bit more durable, say, in 2017 versus 2016, but if you remember in my league race at Baku, IPSWICH did the whole race on the hardest compound. This is the soft, so it's the middle compound, but I still think we might be able to do it to the end of the race. So shout out to Fitcho. I mean, he gets a top comment every time, but now he's getting mentioned in career mode. He's basically famous. But either way, we're carrying on later on in the race. This is a lap or two later. Is this a replay of what happened? I believe it is. So we had the Red Bull and the Force India going side by side into the castle section. I think for the AI, neither of these guys want to back out, and it just ended up in both of them going into the wall. If anything, I think maybe the Force India turned in too early and hit the inside barrier and then forced himself into the path of Daniel Ricciardo. Once again, Daniel Ricciardo has had horrible luck. It's just an inverse of what's going on in real life with the Red Bulls at the moment. Here's another shot of what happened back in the pack. Both the Haas's running into each other. I was stopped in the middle of the track there. I didn't want to get any front wing damage. And then I see Alonso come flying through. Hits the wall. Loses his front wing. I mean, Alonso, you've driven absolutely terribly this season. Qualifying has not been a standout performance. You've got no points this season. And you've just potentially ruined another points finish today by just putting yourself in the barrier. You know, you can't blame anyone else for that. He just simply drove right into the barrier all by himself. But safety car has been deployed. At least Alonso will be able to rejoin in the field at the back there. But we're getting ready for the restart now. Looks like a pretty good one, actually, as I timed it absolutely perfectly. We get the jump on Felipe Massa. And honestly, for the first time in the last year and a half, I feel like I've actually gained a position on a restart. I always lose time. I don't know what it is. I just never get the timing right. But today, we did. Thank goodness for that. It's P9 on lap 6 of this Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Only 1 or 2 cars stopped behind me who didn't have front wing damage. I think one of the Force Indias did. Maybe it was Esteban Ocon. Not entirely sure. But yeah, we're looking pretty good so far in this race as opposed to everyone else who needs to make at least one more stop. So, I don't know. I think we are pretty secure for some points today, that's for sure. I can't believe we only lost one runner in Daniel Ricciardo in that massive, massive pile. I would have thought that, you know, the cars would have, you know, got stuck there and stayed there for ages and then disappeared. That's at least what happened with the older F1 games. At least they've kind of improved on that standpoint. But meanwhile, we got a position on Jolie and Palmer, up to 8th place. We actually did really well in the slipstream versus the Renault. We actually stuck with him with our DRS and overtook him at the end of the straight. So that was a small victory, I'd say, for Honda. Just, you know, making those incremental gains. It was nice to see that we actually could out-drag someone, even though we did have a lot of slipstream, but I'll take it. We carry on to, I think this is lap 10. Just trying to play ourselves into the race here. There's a bit of a gap to the Toro Rosso ahead in Carlos Sainz. No, it's Fairline, who's just been overtaken by Sainz. Yeah, so there's going to be a few guys up the order. I do believe both the Saubers benefited massively by going straight through all the ghosted cars at the safety car incident. But meanwhile, we have not Jolien, this is Hulkenberg going up our inside into the first corner. Again, the Renault doesn't make that much of a gain on us in a straight line, which is, you know, pretty encouraging, even though Hulk had DRS himself. But Massa is out of the Grand Prix. I don't believe I got it on replay, but he went straight into one of the barriers, very similar to what Danny Kvyat did. He didn't do it in the castle section, it was somewhere else. But we carry on board with Jolie and Palmer, who we just overtook. He's in the barriers too. The AI today are absolutely drunk. They do not know what they're doing. He's just completely locked up his outside front tyre again, just like Kvyat did. And he's pretty much out of this race. We lost him and we lost Massa down to 17 runners because the safety car only came out a few laps ago. That's why we don't have one at the moment. The game doesn't like to do safety car periods too close to another. But we got overtaken by Esteban Ocon down to 8th place now. This is probably going to be a bit of a recurring theme here as we get overtaken by much faster cars behind us who have pitted. We've got one of the Mercedes behind us, I believe, as well, in the form of Valtteri Bottas. We're now getting overtaken by Magnussen. I got an absolutely shocking run through that right-hander, and now we find ourselves going side by side through the castle section. This is absolutely not what you want. 2 into 1 does not go, and Magnussen is in the barriers. Honestly, so many crashes for the AI today. And as well, I don't know why Magnussen kept it in here, because I had the inside line. I was pretty much in front of him as well. I mean, there's no way you're going to fit 2 cars through there, especially with the width of the 2017 cars, and he's paid the ultimate price, or at least I think he has. Sebastian Vettel got involved as well. A few other people behind him. Bottas is pretty much out as well. And here we have Alonso from his on board. Hopefully he doesn't get involved. Yeah, look at the AI just going into the inside wall, just turning in way too early, as if they're going to avoid the barriers or the crashes. And yeah, virtual safety car is out again. It then went away, and we're going to carry on with the Grand Prix. What a...
Oh, come on!
Are you serious? Are you actually having me on right now? Fernando was the only guy in that vicinity who did not crash. He pulled off to the right-hand side, and he's the only one that's out. Are you joking me? Fernando has the absolute worst luck this season. I mean, he's got the Max Verstappen luck. It's outrageous. You can't even buy a points finish this season. It's outrageous. He's still on 0 points, and that trend does not look like it's going to change anytime soon. I also have this little theory as well that he might not be getting any upgrades for his AI. But that's, I don't know. We'll wait and see on that one. Maybe not, since he did out-qualify me in qualifying in this episode, but we will gloss over that. But either way, it's outrageous. I don't know what to say. I really don't, but meanwhile, we find ourselves potentially on the podium now, as a lot of the AI runners who started outside the top 10 are all making their stops, and we now find ourselves on the podium. I have noticed as well, when looking at some of the replays, that a lot of the guys in the midfield are doing stop-go penalties. I don't know what that was for, whether it was like what I had at Monaco, as in like a going too slow kind of warning or something like that. I did get the notification at one point, so I wonder if it was for that. But meanwhile, we carry back onto the action. This is us going side by side with Max Verstappen. He recently came out of the pits and now is on the charge on much fresher soft compound tyres. We've got 10 laps to go in this race to hold him off, but to be honest, it's going to be awfully tough to keep him behind. He's going to be fairly decent in a straight line. That Red Bull is pretty good when it comes to drag reduction. Like, they don't have much drag. You know, they're not fast in a straight line by any means, being the Renault, but yeah, that is one thing that they have over us. Their drag on their car is actually quite good. I feel like our car is a bit of a sailboat, it must be said, since we don't have any upgrades at all applied to the car. But Max Verstappen flies past us in the middle sector. We had a very close shaving with the barriers there at that fast left-hander. Very narrowly got away with that, but unfortunately we've fallen off the podium now. I wasn't expecting to be on the podium, in all honesty. I knew that wasn't where we were going to end up at the end of the Grand Prix, but if we keep things consistent, don't make any mistakes, I feel like maybe, just maybe, a top 5 is on the cards here. But Esteban Ocon is going to do his best job he can to prevent us from achieving that. The tyre wear is not great, 52% on the rear tyres. The fronts, though, are holding out really well, so I'm just spinning up the rears way too much, and I've really got to start looking after those. I kind of started about 5 laps ago, really intensely looking after the rear tyres, but it may be a little too little too late at this stage. But Baku has always been a killer for rear tyre wear anyway. There's almost not much you can do about that. I have been running in lean revs as much as I can, but yeah, like I said, there's only so much you can do to preserve those tyres, considering we only put them on lap 3. But either way, we're getting attacked by Ocon there under the start-finish straight. We had to do a little bit of a counter-attacking lunge to get him back up the inside into turn 1. It's very close between the two of us as we go side by side through the start-finish line. Once again, we were basically rubbing tyres there. That, I don't know how we didn't side pod glitch or something like that, but we both survive. He's still up our inside into turn 2. We'll have to leave him the space. It gives us a little bit of a squeeze, nothing too much. It is fairly respectable, it must be said. So I'm really enjoying this battle. Lots of side-by-side battling, and it's been fairly clean for the most part. So I'm actually enjoying this from a racing standpoint. You can see Science going up our inside as well. To be honest, there is nothing much we can do. We don't have much tyre grip under us, don't have much straight line speed, so there's not many tools in the arsenal to keep these guys behind. I'm just trying to, run the fastest race I can. We get the suggestion from Jeff to pit, but no, there's 4 laps to go. It's not viable for us to dive into the pits. We're committed to this strategy now, and it's basically, we're going for it. It's going for like a top 6 or bust, literally, in terms of like punctures. But we have, is that Is that Jolien? No, Jolien's out of the race, I believe, effectively. That's Nico Hulkenberg having a dive at us round the outside through the middle sector, all those 90-degree right-handers. He doesn't get us there. He has another look into the castle section, but again, not really an overtaking place unless you can slide up the inside here, which he's going to do. And he's hit the inside barrier. Who has actually done that? I was actually braking to let him have the position, and he's hit the inside barrier, and I think he's lost his front left tyre out of the race. I can't believe it. He's just turned in like 2 or 3 meters too early, and that is him out of the Grand Prix. This is the onboard from Wehrlein. He does the same thing. So there's some kind of glitch. There's something wrong with the coding of the AI there. They think that they can avoid the crash or something by just turning in early, but it just ultimately leads to their demise. But hey, I'll take it. That was a position we weren't going to lose to Hulkenberg. We effectively got that back now, but we now find ourselves under attack from Magnussen. Here he goes up the inside. We are quite weak, it must be said. Not on the start-finish straight. We're actually pretty decent there. It's the second straight right after that that really puts us under pressure, and then we get overtaken in this, technical bit in the middle sector. So Magnussen goes past. Kvyat is back behind us by about 5, 6, 7 seconds. Hopefully that can be the last of the positions that we lose in this race. And just doing absolutely everything I can now to keep this position that I have. I think the tyres are near on 80%. Yeah, just about 79% on the right rear tyre. So as soon as it clicks over to 80%, that's when you get into the puncture territory. So we absolutely want to avoid that at all costs. I don't want to come this far in the Grand Prix and then just be absolutely shattered by a tyre puncture. But at this stage, it's 82%, and the tyres could go at any moment now. We have a yellow flag up ahead. I believe this is Esteban Ocon, who's out of the Grand Prix. He's lost his front left tyre there, and that is why he wanted to dive into the pits himself. Maybe he was close himself on the tyres, couldn't make it to the end, but unfortunately he had a Toro Rosso on the inside, and that's not the first time we've seen that around this track here in Baku. So the AI, I don't know what it is, they just can't keep it off the barriers. They can't keep the car in a straight line. They can't keep the bits in a straight line. They can't keep the car straight, is what I'm trying to say. But either way, last lap of the Grand Prix. I mean, the car is toast. I'm toast. I don't know what to say anymore. We're just doing everything we can to hold off Valtteri Bottas at this stage. You can just see how slow we are through the mid-corner. Exit speed is not great. Bottas with that faster straight line speed and much, much fresher tyres just eases right past us, and unfortunately it's P7 for us. But with only a few corners to go though, I think that won't be any more positions that we'll lose in this Grand Prix. It's going to be 7th place and 6 points to add to the tally. A much better result than what I was anticipating at the start of the day, being 19th place, and effectively we had no pace at all, but we just held in there with a good strategy to get some good points.
Good job, mate. Really well done. That was a fantastic drive.
And here are our podium drivers today after that excellent race. They've excelled here, as they so often do, and it's a well-deserved victory. Mercedes, then, are on top today.
So Lewis Hamilton then gets another victory in this season. He's pretty much cementing his position to win the championship. I think he was ahead by 30 points or so heading into this race. That's only going to be extended further with Sebastian Vettel having a terrible race, Valtteri Bottas having a terrible race as well. The castle section was just not a good zone for some of our championship contenders. Alonso, Vettel, I think Bottas is out, Ricciardo out as well. We lost so many people. I think we only had 12 people finish in that race, and 10 of which, or 9 or so, finishing on the lead lap. So it's pretty much a reflection of the real life Baku Grand Prix. Driver standings, we're still 6th. And we're still 4th in the constructors as well. So, we got some more points. It was a lot better in terms of the result that I thought we were going to get today. Last season we were absolutely dreadful. But it was nice to see that we were actually a little bit competitive today. Lots of side-by-side action. The strategy that we did probably put us in that position, but it also made us really, really vulnerable at the end there. Would have been interesting to see, though, if we would have stopped a little later on in that race and see if we had a little bit more in the tank to defend with. But I just couldn't resist the urge of pitting under the safety car to give us that track position. So in the end there, we lose a few points to Magnussen, I believe, in the rivalry. We were absolutely smashing him a race or two ago, and now he's essentially caught up to us. But, guys, that has been this episode for today, the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Hopefully you guys enjoy. If you did, make sure you leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new, to see plenty more F1 2017 videos. And until the next race, which I believe is the Austrian Grand Prix, I'll see you guys next time.